Hello, my name is Eliza DeVries, and I wanted to give today a brief introduction to 2022. An introduction that will not be based on astrology. I will be doing another video strictly on the transits that are coming up, because one of the major issues of the year will be the Uranus ruling how we feel inside, breaking up old patterns of behavior and breaking up patterns within our society. We're going to look at that in another video. The other thing that is absolutely enormous is on February 22nd, that will be 2022, we will have the Pluto return for the United States. I want to do a video on that all by itself, but I did want to get a video out today with the major soul messages that I'm getting about the coming year. So I thought what I would do, I'm going to use these cards. They're called the Inner Child cards, and these cards are created from different fairy tales. So they have a kind of a nostalgic feeling to them, and a very colorful and very easy to read, which is what I feel like today, easy reading cards. So I wanted to ask, what would be the main energy for us globally during 2022? The main energy for our whole world. What is it that is going to be the force of energy that comes through to our planet? The card that I got is the Eight of Crystals. And the 8, if you look at the sign of the 8 there, there's a little girl skating and crossing in the center and coming back around and crossing back. And the bunny is down in the corner. Now, in Chinese astrology, the bunny relates to Pisces. So the rabbit is interesting, because we are going, I say I'm not talking astrology, but I'm going to bring a little astrology in. Jupiter just went into Pisces yesterday, and it's exalted in Pisces, and Jupiter is where we are blessed. So we are blessed as a world with the Piscean influence to feel more empathy, kindness, and sensitive relationship to each other. So I would say the main focus of this card is, when you look at the figure 8, it comes like this. We cross in the center, then we go down, then we come back to the center, then we go up. So it feels like we're in cycles of life, which we are, cycles of our planet, which we are, influenced by the heavens. And we keep coming back to the center. She skates around the edges, away from the center, then comes back in toward the center. My feeling is this year we're going to become more centered and less antagonistic. I think it's a positive card. She's happy. It's a rebuilding card. The Eight of Crystals is a card of self-empowerment. The 8 is always about empowerment. When you're in an 8-year in your own life, you're in a time of empowerment. Things are powerfully occurring around you, to you, and for you. So I would say for the world, we're not going to feel so much at the mercy of what's going on outwardly. We're going to be more centered, and we're going to feel from our soul the self-empowerment, that things are not out of control. That number one, we have control over how we react to what's going on in the world. But the second thing is we have control over what we put our focus on. What are we looking at? What movies are you watching? What friends are you hanging out with? What attitudes are you clinging to? what familial ties are coming more into an understanding, more into kindness, more into looking at the members of your family or your nearest and dearest without so much analysis. Because the 8 is coming down across the body and around and back up, I take it that we're coming back more into our heart. I gave a reading yesterday to somebody that I love dearly, who has an extraordinarily analytical chart. And I was thinking how much, with all the implant of thought that we've had over the last 25, 30 years in particular, that if we go down into the wisdom of our heart, we always know the right choice to make. It's when we get in our mind, into the ingrained fear zones of our mind, that we actually lose our sense of balance. She's skating pretty well, holding her balance, not any problem, she's not falling, she's happy, she's in the outdoors. So I would suggest to as many of you as possible that can manage this to try to spend much more time in nature, taking regular breaks with the Mother Earth, with the trees, with the flowers, with the birds, the animals, and far less time watching the news and going into the fear zones of the pandemic, and just realizing that since time immemorial, there's always been something externally that's been going on, that it appears like a tidal wave in our life. But if we're centered, and if we know ourselves, and we know the fact that there is a divine foldment to all that is occurring, we're able to be calmer. And I've also noticed that a lot of people lately have been getting anxiety or heart palpitations or irregular heartbeat or tension in this area of the body. A lot of that is due to the fact that we're not centered in our heart, that there's a conflict going on within us, not without, within us. And when we go down into the heart knows. And I think we need to get away from certain patterns of living and try to set a tone in our life that honors the sacred more. This is an infinity sign. It's also a sign in astrology, as above, so below, because the imprint of the energy of the planets is reflecting back in the cells of our body globally. And it's affecting the earth, it's affecting these, the waters, it's affecting the creatures, and it's affecting us most of all because we get into our mind so much. So that's the first card I'm getting. I feel good about that card altogether. There's a little robin singing up on the branches, which makes me feel that January, February may be a bit challenging, but as we get into March, which is spring, which is the robin, March, April, that things are going to lighten up. We're going to feel a lot better. So we're just clearing right now. Somebody said on their page today, I'm going to strive to be more in my heart. I have to say, it's not about striving. It's about relaxing and allowing. Being in the heart, if you take a soft breath, and as you exhale, very long exhale, you can feel yourself sink down into the beauty of your heart. And you can feel your body center, relax, and become less stressed. So soft breathing exercises are also very helpful at this time. I'm going to ask now, what is the major challenge that we will face globally? What is the major challenge we will face globally? Without even looking at a card, I'm hearing environmental challenges. When I pick up the card, I see a man with a sword. Now this is the sword in the stone in King Arthur's days, but I saw this card differently. I saw this card as being out in the nature and the sword piercing the earth. In other words, we still haven't learned and shaped up with our treatment of the earth, the air, and the waters. We're still ridiculous. And so this is, to me, a confirmation of that fact that when we get out into the nature, we're more inclined to care about what's happening to it. Number two, it looks like it's the earth that's being harmed. Doesn't look like he's, to me, on this day, that he's pulling the sword out. It looks like he's putting the sword in, which means there's still a lot we have to do regarding our environment. And I'm feeling a lot about water next year. I feel there's going to be a lot of water, floods, hurricanes, areas of the earth that are vulnerable, that have low sea level. I see a lot of water there. And I feel like even I'm feeling the east coast of the United States, a lot of water. And we've got to do something about the fossil fuels and about the melting of the glacial caps. They really are breaking off in huge chunks now, and this is going to raise the water levels, which in turn is going to affect the low-lying territories. I see a lot of strange water occurrences, strange places that water has issues that have not had issues before. And tidal waves and huge polar breaks. Got to really get on it next year. No choice. All right? What will be the solution to the challenge? This is the most beautiful card. This is the card of the Earth Child. How perfect. It makes me want to cry, that card, because I think, look at our children and the babies being born right now, and the innocence, but also the wisdom of these children, the genius of these children, and the problems that they're going to have to confront. And I'm feeling that the impetus to connect with each other, that globally we're going to realize this is not a country's problem, this is a global issue. So I feel more countries are going to unite and set stricter rules and laws because of the children, because we won't be here forever, but those children could be here for 80, 100 years if the earth survives this time. And the child is not looking that happy. The child is really in the heart. Look at the little sweet heart of that baby. It's right in the heart. But the face of the child is not, it's kind of a wonderment, and it's looking at the earth and it's saying, we're counting on you to do something about this. It's a very powerful card. It's the final card in the Tarot deck out of 84 cards of the major arcana. It's called the World in other decks. So it's, I was thinking of that song Michael Jackson sang, we are the world, we are the children. That seems like a perfect song. And really need to feel the hearts of our children and what we're leaving behind as a legacy. Okay, that's pretty beautiful. What is the spiritual energy that is being graced upon us at this time? What is the spiritual energy? Remember, when there is always a counterpart, and beyond good and bad, good and evil, whatever you want to call it, beyond polarity lies the field of love. And from the field of love comes different forms of grace. What is the grace that will come to us that we could access this year, which I do feel is related to the Jupiter in Pisces? This is a sweet card. It's also a card of all of us. The grace of this card, the little fairy is sitting inside the flower thinking she's all alone and crying or feeling isolated and not able to be with other people that she wants to be with. And yet, if you look above her, all the beautiful beings that have gone into spirit or are spiritual beings are there for her to access. So I tell you from the depths of my soul that what is around us is there to shower us with blessings, with love, to help us lighten up. Butterfly, obviously, a very light, carefree, happy creature. And all these butterflies are around her saying, we're here, we're here. God is here, love is here. It hasn't gone anywhere. The people that you have lost, they haven't gone anywhere. They're all around you. They're brushing against your cheek. They're flying above you. We've got all the different colors of the chakras. So all parts of our being are capable of receiving divine consolation, divine joy, mercy, and celebration of life. There are still so many things that we can be grateful for and celebrate, no matter what our status or our bank account or our state of health. There's so much of beauty out there and within us. And you just sit quietly. I know when I'm giving a healing and I open my soul, like right now I can feel the divine beings just stroking my head and pouring energy into me and saying, tell them it's all right. And I wrote on my page yesterday, my favorite phrase is to be still and know that my soul is one with God. That all is one with God. That little blade of grass outside is one with God. The little puppies in my bedroom, they're one with God. Everything is one with God. So we're all swimming in the ocean of God. And we can access the majesty of the ocean while being a little drop, a little wave, and feel consolation. No matter how alone it may appear to be, we are not alone. That's a beautiful thought, isn't it? That we aren't alone. I know in my readings lately, I've been crying a lot, not crying in a sad way, but crying because my heart is crying with the other and feeling the journey of the other, but at the same time, divine answers are being given and divine consolation is being given and divine inspiration. I'd like to end the reading there today. I'm going to then start doing more of my YouTube videos. If you like, please subscribe and know that you are not alone, that love surrounds you. And a good way to do that is to go out, if it's not freezing or where you're living, and lie on the earth or put your arms around a tree or cuddle with your animals or your mate or your children or your best friend, just hug each other and just feel the love that exists all around you. Thank you, and may you have a blessed 2022.